If I may give an opinion about as to why I think people who are not in HOA communities might be opposed to incorporation, is just about every new subdivision that is being built here in Santan Valley has an HOA. You will, if you go to a real estate agent, you won't find many homes that are not in an HOA community, unless you're really going out into some rural areas. And I think people who live in those areas without HOAs are legacy families. They've been there a long time, and they would like to keep Santan rural. I really don't see why they're connecting HOAs to any of this, frankly. But I can make an assumption, an educated assumption, that a lot of those folks are choosing to live in HOAs because they don't want to be told what to do with their properties. And those tend to be people who don't like government to tell them what to do. So, I mean, that is a valid opinion and perspective on being a citizen in these United States, and I'm not here to refute that, which is why we're having an election, right? But ultimately, I don't see, from just an average citizen's perspective, I see no relationship between HOA and city government, other than the fact that the demographic that lives in these more rural, non-HOA areas tend to be less approving of government in general, I think. And maybe that's why they choose to live in a non-HOA community, right? Because they don't want to be told they can't put that tree in front of their house. And those are probably the same people who don't want to be told I have to pay an extra 2% sales tax. And that's a valid opinion and perspective, one that I'm not here to argue against. That's not mine. The first week I moved here, I had a California plate. Now, I told you, people don't know my business. My story is we are not native Californians. We are, four of my five kids were born here. My wife's a native. I moved here to go to ASU 35 years ago. Right? I consider myself an Arizonan, even though I haven't lived here for the last 15 years. My first week here, I still had my California tag, and I drove to the local Fry's down the street, and someone just walked up to me and my wife as we were unbagging groceries, and with some pretty ugly words told us to get, I won't repeat what they said, but they told us to get out of here. We're not welcome. Because they saw that we were buying groceries, and they figured out we're probably somebody who just moved here, and we were. And I, just had to make the assumption that those are the folks who wanted to keep Santan Valley like it was 30 years ago. And I suppose I would say to those folks, and I have on social media, we've already got 125,000 people here. 20 years ago, you had 35,000 people here. It's the issue about we want to remain rural is over. It's a done deal. So I suppose, and I don't mean to say that to be rude or mean to those folks, but change is inevitable, and wherever you are, we're not stopping the growth by not voting. And ultimately, I believe this is a question about risk. I am a risk taker in general. I believe without taking risks, there's nothing to be gained. I believe inaction or not voting for incorporation is a risk as well. And that risk is far worse for me than the risk about voting in a layer of government and building a plan and doing all the other things that a city government would do. So that's ultimately what my decision comes down to. To me, in 20 years, if we incorporate and if we manage it correctly as citizens, voting in good representatives and leaders, and managing our budget effectively, I see us as successful as a community as Gilbert or Queen Creek or Chandler, with city amenities, parks, with opportunities for, I see a police department here, I see a fire department here. Those are the things that I'm looking for. Without incorporation, I see unplanned growth. I see more houses than amenities, and I'll leave if I have to keep going to Queen Creek to go to a movie theater.